thank you so much for being here at our
Sure.
Baltimore Mocks tonight. This is great that you want to give back. I've got a question. This week we're talking to our Terps about fashion, dressing for success, and fashion flaws. Most importantly, women. What would you suggest? How do you really impress in an interview in terms of dress?
Sure. So I think it's important to be your authentic self, but not necessarily share your personality through your clothing. And so I'll give an example. When I was in college and I started the interview process, someone told me, you should really straighten your hair because people have an idea that curly hair makes you a wild person. And I couldn't do it. My authentic self is I have curly hair, this is who I am. But on the flip side, I don't also need maybe wild jewelry or flashy clothing to show that I'm an outgoing person. So being my authentic self meant keeping my curly hair the way that it was, but still maybe wearing some more subdued clothing that was a little bit more conservative, didn't show too much skin, so that the interviewer didn't get distracted by that.
So it's important. What else might be distracting for an interviewer from a female perspective?
Sure. Heavy perfume. I find extremely distracting, and I am a woman.
Okay.
So I would say definitely lay off on the scents and heavy perfume. You don't know who you're meeting with, what their allergies are. Also, anything that's too revealing, tight clothing, not a good time to do that. That clothing that transitions from day to night. I would go with a little bit more of the conservative stuff. I think that women can look great in button-up shirts. So if you can get a good, well-fitting button-down shirt that doesn't gap in the middle, that's really important. If you can't and it gaps, don't wear it. Wear a flat front shirt.
No gaps.
No gaps.
So Ray, thanks again. These fashion tips are really going to help our Terps. I got a question for you. Now what about a sock like this? What do you think? So I got some Terp colors going here. What does it tell you? What kind of message?
The first thing my eye looks at is it looks awfully athletic to me. And when you want to present a professional front, I'm not sure that athleticism is something that needs to be a part of that. Very, very slight maybe if you're wearing a light gray suit or something that it would go along with. But I know it sounds kind of like I'm saying the same thing about the socks here, but I would say no on that.
Another question for you, quickly. Ties, power ties, colors. So we talked to our Terps about red. Red is in. What kind of tie do you like to see?
You know what? I like to see a well-tied tie. I like to see one that's the proper length. But as far as what's on the tie, as long as it's not overly distracting or inappropriate, then again, that's an area where you can use some discretion. I would say anytime that you have something that is fashion-oriented that you're not sure whether it does or doesn't go, I know you're professionals here, and I would feel very comfortable with sending people in here to say, hey, does this look okay? Should I use this in an interview? And you can get some advice that way.
So better to ask
Absolutely.
than trying it out for the first time
Absolutely.
in an interview.
Absolutely.
So Joy, what about, for our female MBAs, fashion flaws or things that they should definitely avoid? What stands out in the interview kind of setting?
A couple of things stand out is when the clothes are too tight, it makes it's unflattering and can make the interviewee look uncomfortable, also being distracting from the person's skills and what they're actually interviewing for.
So I guess it could be distracting to the interviewer then. They're not really picking up on all the strengths that person might have.
Right.
Anything else in terms of hairstyle or jewelry or anything else that stands out as a distraction?
One thing I've seen is some hairstyles tend to fall into the eyes, and during the interview they'll be doing this. So
when you see women brushing their hair like that a lot in an interview, what kind of message does that send or convey to a recruiter?
It would convey a bit of nervousness that they're playing with something as a tick.
Okay. So the bottom line is dress sharp.
Yep.
Get your hair done. Don't mess with your hair, and hopefully you'll land the right job.
Yeah. I think it'll help with the confidence.
All right, Joy. Thanks so much.
Thanks
How about a Go Terps?
Go Terps!